Hi everyone, I'm Joey Andrews, a Mazda Motorsports factory driver in Spec MX-5. Today I'm going to explain to you and show you how I use the VBOX Motorsport HD2 data logging system in my car. We're going to take a look at what it's like behind the wheel and how I use the OLED system. So now we're behind the wheel of my Spec MX-5 car, and as you can see, we're using the VBOX OLED display here on the left. The OLED display gives me all my essential lap time information as I'm driving, showing what my last lap time was, what my delta is, meaning how much I'm improving or going slower on a lap. And then the top LED lights, one of my favorite features, showing on our entry speed, our apex speed, and our exit speed, and our straight line speed, whether we're going faster or slower. This is really important in reference lap when we're trying to figure out, are we faster because we got a better exit, or is it because we had a toe? So it's a really, really cool feature, and it's super easy to reference, and the settings are all very straightforward, so you can customize it in a ton of different ways. So inside the car, I'm going to show you how everything is mounted and how you get to see the amazing onboard cameras. So the HD2 camera system gives us two cameras to use when we program our VBOX scene. Right here is the rear-facing camera where you can see if there's any cars behind me and see me while I'm driving. Right here is the front-facing camera where you can get the view out and see all the steering inputs and all the fun action from the race. And then of course, let's talk about the wiring and mounting, which is the magic of the VBOX system. Down here is our fancy VBOX video unit. As you can see, it's a pretty little hefty unit, but what's amazing is despite its incredible capabilities, it's actually super small. It's about 8 inches or so in length and about 5 inches or so in width, and it's not that heavy either. And then of course we have all of our different wires here for the camera, the data, which is coming from our AIM data logger, which is required by the series. Then of course we have our GPS antenna, which will show you how that works, and then our microphone. So a cool little Easter egg on the microphone, so you can see I have it mounted right up here. So its direction is facing towards me as I drive, and that way if I ever say anything, I can actually pick it up sometimes, which is pretty cool.
Oh my God, oh, stop! Oh, no!
You might be wondering, what is this little square back here? This is the GPS antenna. And obviously when we're looking on the data of our car position on track, and accuracy is the most important thing, that's the job of this little guy. And what's amazing is, you see it on the outside and you think, well, it might get loose, it might fall around, but check out how strong this magnet is. I've never seen a magnet this strong in my life. It just, bam, absolutely stuck to the car, and complete challenge to get off. But that's important because we don't want it flying off, obviously, because that would ruin our data. And another really cool feature of the HD2 unit that I love, and I've been using this season, is the live streaming capability. On the side here, you might notice that there's an HDMI wire, and that's because there's an HDMI port where you can project the live data on the display from your scene and the cameras onto any streaming device. In this case, we're using the GPX streaming system, and that's how you can watch my onboards live from the SCCA feed and their YouTube channel as well.
Joey Andrews, thank you for a perfect placement of stuff on your in-car camera. So we're able to keep up our pylon on the left, and it doesn't cover up any really important stuff. Great placement of the rear view camera so we can see it. So big kudos. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. So very, very awesome. Thank you, Joey.
So now let's dive into one of the coolest features of the VBOX system, the scene. So the scene is essentially the graphic overlay of all the live data on your video. And what's amazing about this is you can take pretty much any parameter that the VBOX data logger is recording and integrate it into your video without doing any editing. So a little bit of setup beforehand, and I'll have a tutorial video explaining how I created this. So let's start with the most basic part, which is the cameras. So of course you can see my front-facing camera takes up the majority of the frame, and then right above where the placement of a rear view mirror would be on a car, I decided to put the rear-facing camera there. In this case, the rear-facing camera is looking out the rear window, but also seeing me as the driver. So if there's any inputs or something interesting going on with my helmet or my face, you can see that too, which makes it kind of cool. See, as I'm looking around, as I'm driving. Then on the top right, you can see the layout of whatever track we're on. What's really cool is no matter what track we go to, the VBOX automatically detects it, and it puts in the track in that location in the correct scaling. So nothing too complicated to set up there. And as you can see here with Road America, does a perfect job of that. Moving to the bottom right, you can see our timing information. So in this case, we have our delta showing how much we're going slower or faster. Then we have our lap number, our best lap time from the session, and then our last lap time. So pretty basic information there, but really good in reviewing video that you don't have to go into the data software to figure out what the information is. You can just quickly pull up the video and there it is. Or if you're watching live, you You can get a look at that as I'm driving. Moving to the middle, we have all the controls and inputs. So starting off, we have the RPM bar, which goes from 0 to 8,000 RPM, showing a live readout of, how fast the engine is turning. And then we have our gear layout showing what gear I'm in. This one is just one of my favorite features, honestly. It's super basic, it's just a number, but it's fun to see, as you shift the gears in the manual transmission, the gears going up and down and the live data of that. And what's cool about this is the Spec MX-5 car is a manual transmission. There's no actual parameter telling you what gear it's in. It's all a math calculation, and yet it's able to figure it out, which is amazing. Moving to the left of that, we have our pedal inputs. Now this is one I had to custom make because normally the VBOX software has a bar for throttle input and brake pressure. But I thought, this is a manual transmission car. We're using 3 pedals, of course, with the clutch. So I'm gonna add another bar, customize it to have the input from the clutch, which the VBOX is, of course, logging at all times, and then create a custom graphic that looks like the rest of it to go with the theme, and then have it all integrated. And as you can see here, as you're heel-toe downshifting, or if you're just regularly upshifting, it's pretty cool to watch. And then moving to the left of that, we have our G-ball showing how many Gs are pulling in the corner, but also this is useful if you're wanting to see how smooth the car transitions from the braking phase where the ball goes forward to the cornering phase where the ball goes to the side. Ideally, you want a nice smooth arc, so actually the look of that is pretty functional. And then of course we have the little readout of the number, so if you're trying to see peak grip in a corner, for example, if you use the carousel at Road America, which is a pretty high G corner, I guess, for a Spec MX-5 car, you can see what that number you're hitting is. Right into the left of that, we have the GPS speed, which is recorded off of the GPS antenna sitting right next to the rear window. And the cool part with the scene as well is it's not simply just having the 2 cameras and having the parameters that the VBOX system is recording, but you can actually integrate any graphics you want into it. So as I mentioned, like I did the pedals completely customized. The same goes for the layout showing the RPM, where you have the 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 and the RPM times 1,000. That's all custom text. And the same goes for having the GPX live camera logo in there, my name in there, the Stiglette logo, the Spec MX-5 logo, and the Mazda Motorsports logo. So pretty much any design you can think of, you can create with the system, which is fantastic. And honestly, when I watch back my onboard footage from this, I just love how everything integrates. And it's like, this is properly cool. And especially the fact that it's so easy to use. Once you have it all set up and all the parameters are correct, it's done. There's no editing to do. You simply can export the video of whatever lap you want, and every single bit of data is going to be there, which is fantastic.
All right, so there you go. That's a tour of how I use the VBOX HD2 video and data system in my Spec MX-5 car. Hope you guys enjoyed this little behind the scenes. Stay tuned for all the amazing content that we'll be releasing over the summer and the amazing tracks we visited this year in Spec MX-5.